You know, you were going to guarantee that your man's going to win tomorrow, Arlen Specter.
Right.
Can you guarantee that to the people of your state?
Well, Joe, you tell me what the weather's going to be, and I'll tell you whether we can guarantee it or not.
Really? It comes down to weather patterns, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's a very close race, and Arlen needs a good turnout from the southeast, and particularly from the city of Philadelphia, and it's supposed to rain here tomorrow. That's not a good sign.
Are you disappointed that Sestak says that he will not support Arlen Specter if he gets the nomination?
Or may not.
No, I think it's actually a good thing for Arlen. You know, Joe's been saying all along, I'm the real Democrat. Well, Joe, real Democrats support Democrats against someone like Pat Toomey. I think Joe lost a lot of credibility when he said that he wouldn't necessarily support Arlen.
Well, we showed a commercial earlier that
Which
was just...
kind of questions Specter's credibility.
Yeah, when Specter said I switched parties so I could win
Yeah.
an election,
Yeah.
and then they have George Bush basically doing everything but licking Arlen Specter on the side of the face. That can't
Joe,
help
would
in
you
a
be
Democratic
surprised?
primary.
Would you be surprised to know that that quote from Arlen was taken out of context?
How?
And if you showed the next sentence that he said, it would be entirely different. Of course you wouldn't be surprised. First of all, that ad is a bunch of BS. It's done by the media consultants that run all my campaigns. They're terrific, but it's a bunch of BS. When they say that Arlen Specter voted to save his own job, let me tell you, when he voted for the stimulus, he knew exactly what trouble it was going to get him into. And as of March 30th, the last report I got from our Department of Labor, 20,558 Pennsylvanians were working in jobs totally financed by the stimulus construction dollars. That's
Okay.
number one. And number two, I have $2.5 billion of stimulus in my state budget. Without it, I'd have to lay off
Okay.
another 20,000 people.
All right, so Arlen
So that's
Specter...
40,000 jobs.
Okay.
So Arlen Specter's
Infrastructure.
saving jobs.
All right.
No
Let's just
question,
back
as
up
he
to
always
the-
has done.
Let's back up, rewind to the out of context concern that you have, and in the words of Werner Wolf, let's roll the videotape. I want to understand this.
For 45 years, Arlen Specter has been a Republican politician.
Arlen Specter is the right man for the United States Senate. I can count on this man. See, that's important. He's a firm ally.
But now,
My change in party will enable me to be re-elected.
Arlen Specter switched parties to save one job. His, not yours.
Okay, Ed. How does that, but please explain, what's the other
of
part of the
context.
sentence?
Yes.
What's out of context
The
about
other
that?
part of the sentence is that people were asking him to switch parties, including President of the United States, good Democrat. Vice President of the United States,
Who
good
want him to
Democrat.
win.
Governor of Pennsylvania, good Democrat. Mayor of Philadelphia, good Democrat. Arlen Specter just didn't wake up one morning and decide to do this on his own. Good Democrats, people who've given their life to the Democratic Party, like me, asked him to switch.
Dan Rather.
I don't know.
Maybe that's the case, but it's still, you see in George Bush up there.
I don't see how that can be helpful, but again,
Well, it isn't helpful. It's a good ad.
Be fair to a degree that any number of Democrats have switched to the Republican Party. Governor Perry in Texas had a very successful career for switching parties. So it's not as if
Reagan.
Arlen Specter is the first person to do it.
Ronald
Reagan.
Reagan. Right, Ronald
Ronald
Reagan
Reagan.
switched parties. A lot of people switching parties. Mark Halperin.
Governor, just explain, though, to Democrats in your state who are voting in this primary, how someone can go to being very close to Sarah Palin and George Bush just a few months ago, really, to now being considered the authentic Democratic standard bearer for your party.
Mark, what I explained to people in Pennsylvania is that for 30 years, 29 of which he was a Republican, Arlen Specter has delivered for Pennsylvania, has brought things to Pennsylvania that no other senator could do. And he didn't ask us whether we were Democrats or Republicans. He gets less than 30% of the vote in Philadelphia throughout his whole career, and yet every time Philadelphia needed him when I was mayor, he was there for us. He didn't say, oh, it's a Democratic city, I'm not going to help.
So why
He
is
has
the,
helped
Governor, why is
Pennsylvanians
the race
all over.
close? Why is the race close then?
The race is close because Joe Sestak has a terrific media group. The campaign group, if it was in Washington, would be the #1 Democratic group in the country.
Nothing to do with Specter's long time in the Republican Party. Nothing to do with the mood of the country.
No, absolutely. Arlen's a 30-year incumbent. If you had told me in January that Senator Bennett was going to lose, someone who I thought was an icon in Utah, not even getting on the ballot, sure, the anti-incumbency is very strong, and Arlen's bearing the brunt of that. But Pennsylvanians should think very carefully about what Arlen delivers day in and day out for Democratic areas, Republican areas. He never asked.
All right, Harold Ford.
In fact,
fairness to Arlen Specter, he's been criticized by Republicans too throughout his career, and I might add,
Always.
and the stimulus funding, I'm not here to defend him, but I will, in fairness to the man, with the stimulus plan in the Congress, Arlen Specter held out, as David Gregory's show pointed out yesterday, because he wanted to see a doubling of cancer research dollars. So he has a moderate stream. It's going to be interesting, though. Governor, I hear you about your ad team. They're one heck of an ad team if they put that together. But I think you got to give Sestak a little credit here. It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. But I got to tell you, if I'm in Pennsylvania, I certainly would want you on my side, sir. So it'd have to be good perspective to have you there.
Well, I will tell you, if you're a good Democrat, you should support Democrats against Republicans. Joe Sestak didn't do that. It seems to me Arlen Specter's the better Democrat because he said he'll support Joe Sestak.
All right. Very good.
Oh, Governor Rendell, it's always good to have you.
Infrastructure. Infrastructure.
Yes.
You see why he's got elected.
Exactly.
He still hasn't answered the question of how he reconciles. Just a short while ago, he was in favor of President
I have
Bush.
answered
had
that, Dan.
meeting with him, had the Sarah Palin
Dan,
thing.
none of that stuff matters. What matters is that he delivers.
All right. Arlen,
Let's leave you with the last word, Governor.
Governor Ed Rendell, thank you very
Governor.
much. Our next guest says the U.S. needs to wake up and balance the budget. Columnist Robert Samuelson takes us inside his latest op-ed. That's next on Morning Joe.